We all buy things online or see products on a shelf, and we never really think about the journey they took to get there. We just assume it's a simple, straight line from A to B. But the truth, the reality behind the scenes is this incredibly tangled web of different systems, people, and processes. And honestly, it's often chaotic, super inefficient, and costs a ton of money. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain and see what's really going on and why the old way of doing things is completely breaking down. Let's start with a number. 45%. Right now, it's just a number on a screen. But in the world of logistics, this number represents a massive systemic failure, one that costs businesses millions every single day. So what is it? That's the percentage of business-to-business deliveries that show up either late or just plain wrong. Almost half. I mean, just imagine the domino effect of that. We're talking lost revenue, angry customers, and just constant operational headaches. This isn't some tiny little hiccup, it's a fundamental problem that businesses are fighting every single day. When you see a number that big, you have to ask yourself, in this age of amazing technology, how can things be this broken? Well, to really get to the solution, first we have to dig into what's causing all this chaos. And it all starts with the very tools we're using to run the show. Okay, so the first major breakdown point is right there in the software and systems that companies are relying on. And what's kind of crazy is we have a mix of the really old school stuff and the super complex new stuff. And you know what? Both of them are failing to keep up. Now, you'd probably assume most companies are using these sleek, sophisticated, integrated platforms, right? The reality is actually shocking. A whopping 65% of businesses are still running their critical, multi-million-dollar logistics on email and spreadsheets. I mean, think about that. These are tools that were never, ever built for real-time, high-stakes coordination. So you might think, okay, easy fix. Just go buy a massive, expensive system like SAP or Oracle. Well, not so fast. Because while that gets you away from the manual mayhem, it often creates a whole new problem, what we could call legacy logjams. One company we talked to said it took them nearly 5 years just to get their warehouse module up and running. And data shows these huge projects take, on average, 30% longer than planned and almost always go way over budget. So neither the old-school manual way nor the big, expensive way is really solving the core issue, which is a total lack of visibility and the ability to pivot quickly. And this lack of visibility, it has very real, very human consequences. Just listen to this quote from a logistics manager. He's worried about fraud. See, without real-time tracking, a driver could be miles away from the actual delivery spot, but use his handheld device to say he dropped it off, all to game a self-promotion. When you don't have one single source of truth that everyone can see, you get chaos, you get mistrust, and you get serious financial losses. So if spreadsheets are way too simple and the giant legacy systems are way too complex and rigid, what's the answer? Well, it's a concept that's actually borrowed from aviation, the control tower, a single centralized hub that sees everything, manages everything, and connects all the moving pieces in real time. A supply chain control tower is, for all intents and purposes, the brain of the entire logistics operation. It's a modern, cloud-based platform that plugs into all the different pieces of your supply chain puzzle: the orders, the warehouse inventory, the trucks on the road, the drivers. And it gives you one single, unified screen to see exactly what's happening, from the very beginning to the very end. Now, what makes a control tower so incredibly powerful are these core pillars all working together in harmony. It's not just about, seeing a dot on a map. It's about connecting the order from your main sales system directly to that truck's live location and then showing all that real-time information on a dashboard that actually makes sense to you. The whole point is to create one single source of truth for everyone. Okay, so that's the big idea. But let's bring it down to earth. What does this actually look like on a normal Tuesday when a customer places an order? Let's follow that order's journey through this new, modern, and much smarter system. The whole process becomes beautifully simple. First, an order comes in automatically from the main sales system, your ERP. Instantly, the control tower checks the warehouse module, the WMS, and reserves that item. Then, a shipment is created in the transport module, the TMS, and a truck and driver are assigned. From there, that vehicle is tracked live, every step of the way. Once a delivery is made, the driver just snaps a picture for proof of delivery right on their device, and boom, the system automatically generates the invoice. No more spreadsheets, no more frantic phone calls, just a smooth, clean, automated flow. And all this is powered by specialized modules that are designed to talk to each other. You've got a warehouse management system, your WMS, that knows exactly where every single item is, down to the specific shelf and bin. And then you have the transportation management system, the TMS, that handles everything once that product is out the door and on the road, from live vehicle tracking to managing driver expenses. So we've gone from this messy, fragmented, chaotic process to one that's unified, visible, and clear. But what does that actually mean for the business's bottom line? This is where the theory hits the road, and the results are frankly transformative. 35%. That's how much one company cut its fleet downtime. That means more trucks on the road, making more money instead of sitting idle. 30%. That's the drop they saw in shipment delays, which of course means much, much happier customers. And 25%. A huge reduction in order mistakes and discrepancies simply by having an automated, unified system that doesn't rely on human data entry. And the savings just keep coming. This new level of visibility leads to direct cost reductions all over the place. 10% less spent on fuel and transport, 15% less cash tied up in inventory you don't need, and 20% fewer of those really costly stockouts. These aren't just little tweaks, they are major financial wins. But beyond all the numbers, it's really about having control and confidence. Asad Kamal, a senior operations manager who went through this, put it, getting this kind of visibility was a complete game changer. It's about taking a part of the business that was a constant source of stress and turning it into a smooth, efficient machine. So, what's the big lesson here? What should we all take away from this? Well, it's become pretty clear that the old ways of managing supply chains just aren't cutting it anymore. This shift towards a centralized, visible, and agile model isn't just a cool new trend. It's becoming a strategic necessity to survive. And this, right here, is the ultimate point. When you can actually see and control your entire supply chain from end to end, it stops being just another cost center on a spreadsheet. It becomes your competitive advantage. It's how you deliver better service, operate leaner, and adapt to change faster than anyone else in your industry. Which really leaves just one final question for you to think about. Is your supply chain built on the shaky foundations of yesterday, or is it truly engineered to win tomorrow?